Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are charting a step-by-step roadmap straight into the digital freelance economy. Whether you're totally new to the concept of online work or you're just looking for a structured, no-nonsense way to build an independent income stream from scratch, we're taking you from absolute zero to landing your very first client. So let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Think about it for a second. What if you could take a skill you already have, or maybe one you can easily learn, and turn it into a service that people all around the world are actually willing to pay for? That is the core, incredibly powerful promise of the modern freelance economy. You are no longer limited by your zip code, and that's a real game changer. On our journey today, we're going to cover exactly what skills you can sell, where you actually find these clients, what a beginner should be charging, and how to snag that crucial first client when you have zero experience. Finally, we'll talk about turning that single, exciting win into a long-term career. But first, let's define our terms and clear up a few myths right out of the gate. What is a freelancer, really? Basically, it's a professional who exchanges a specific service or deliverable for payment without being a traditional employee. You're not punching a clock for a single boss. You are providing targeted value directly to clients, entirely on your own terms. Think of it this way. In a traditional job, you're generally trading your time for a steady, predictable paycheck, usually tied to a fixed schedule, right? But a freelancer operates much more like a contractor, or really, a solo business owner. You're exchanging a completed service, a tangible result for payment. It's a completely different mindset, one that rewards your efficiency and output way more than simply sitting at a desk for 8 hours. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, it's incredibly straightforward. A designer creates a logo and gets paid for that specific deliverable. A writer hands over a finished article. A video editor completes a YouTube cut. A virtual assistant handles an afternoon of admin tasks. Or a programmer delivers a fully functional website. It's literally just the exchange of a specific deliverable for a specific payment. You might be wondering, why is this exploding right now? Well, the internet fundamentally rewired the global labor market. Thanks to the massive rise of remote work, online marketplaces, and cloud software, a business in New York can instantly hire a specialist in London or Manila or anywhere. With seamless video conferencing and instant digital payments, businesses just don't need to restrict their hiring to a 50-mile radius anymore. The talent pool is global, and you can easily be a part of it. And that brings us to section 1 of our roadmap, the arsenal, choosing one core skill. Listen, when you are just starting out, please do not try to offer 20 different services all at once. It's such a classic beginner's trap to want to be a jack of all trades. Instead, you need to choose one core skill with proven market demand. If you spread yourself too thin right out of the gate, you master nothing. And honestly, you appeal to absolutely no one. The good news is your options are vast and super exciting. You could dive into graphic design, video editing, or copywriting. You could tackle web development, social media management, virtual assistants, SEO, translation, or even data analysis. And actually, there are massive emerging opportunities right now in AI-assisted content services. The key here is picking a single skill that you can realistically develop and that clients actively need today. Now, this brilliantly illustrates a crucial psychological shift you have to make. There is a massive difference between a skill and a service. Video editing, for example, is a skill. It's just what you know how to do. But a service is how you package that skill for the open market. A service is saying, I will edit short-form videos for business creators. See the difference? You aren't just selling your technical know-how, you're selling a tailored, highly specific solution. Because here is the golden rule of freelancing, and you should absolutely write this down. Clients buy outcomes, not simply skills. For the most part, they don't care what software you use or how many hours you spent studying some online tutorial. They care if you can solve their problem and deliver a final product that helps their business succeed. Which leads us perfectly into section 2, the proof, building a strong portfolio. So how do you actually prove to a total stranger that you can deliver? You have to build evidence from scratch. Now, a lot of beginners totally panic here because they don't have a long list of paid past clients. But guess what? You don't need paid clients to build a portfolio. You can use practice projects, personal projects, or you can create highly polished mock client projects. Showing simple before and after examples of your work demonstrates your capability perfectly. Just a very clear warning. Never ever falsely claim that a sample project was created for a real client. Honesty is the absolute foundation of a lasting freelance career.
All right, moving on to section 3, the target, finding your ideal client.
Okay, you have the skill and you have the proof, but you shouldn't try to serve everyone. Pick an ideal client niche. Are you targeting YouTube creators, small local businesses, maybe e-commerce stores, coaches, startups, or even creative agencies? When you specialize in just one of these niches, your marketing becomes significantly easier and your service offering becomes exponentially stronger to the people who actually see it. Once you know exactly who they are, you need to know where they are. Freelancers secure their work across a variety of battlegrounds. You have dedicated freelance marketplaces, of course, but also platforms like LinkedIn, which are absolute goldmines for professional services. You can use direct outreach, social media, your personal website, or tap into referrals in your existing professional contacts. Every single channel has its pros and cons, but these are the actual environments where the deals happen. Let's tackle Section 4, the first trial. The first client problem. It is entirely normal to feel anxious at this stage. Landing that very first client is notoriously the hardest step in a freelancer's journey. You're facing very real hurdles: a complete lack of reviews, zero public testimonials, no formal professional experience, and you're up against high competition from established freelancers. It is highly intimidating. I completely get it. So the crucial point is how you systematically dismantle those exact hurdles. First, build those strong sample projects we just talked about. Next, craft crystal clear offers tailored to your specific niche, and execute highly targeted outreach with professional communication. Be willing to start with small initial projects just to build trust and gather that first crucial review. And finally, apply consistently. It really is a numbers game, but it's fueled by quality. And I want to explicitly ground us in reality right now. Freelancing is absolutely not easy money. Do not let anyone on the internet sell you a fantasy. To be successful, this path requires serious skill development, excellent professional communication, relentless consistency, active marketing, and a massive amount of patience. You are building a business, and businesses require hard work, for sure. Consider this realization. Choosing a skill is only the beginning. The real freelancing game starts when you have to convince a stranger to trust you with their business. That completely changes your perspective, doesn't it? It's the ultimate cliffhanger realization, and that is exactly why this explainer is just part 1 of our roadmap. Next time, we're going to dive into advanced strategies like pricing your services, writing winning proposals, and scaling up. But for now, as we wrap up, I want to leave you completely hooked with this final provocative thought. The core question isn't simply, what skill can I sell? The much bigger, much more important question you must ask yourself today is this: what valuable problem can I solve for someone else? Think deeply about that, start building your roadmap, and I will see you in the next explainer. Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. In part 1, we really laid the groundwork, what freelancing actually is, how to pick just one skill, package it into a service, build up that initial portfolio, and start spotting potential clients. But today we're tackling the absolute core conflict that every single beginner runs into. Because let's be real, getting someone's eyeballs on your stuff is one thing, but getting them to pull out their wallet and actually become a paying client, yeah, that is a completely different game. So we're going to bridge that gap today. We'll break down exactly how you turn a raw, unpolished skill into a sustainable, growing freelance business. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our visual roadmap for today's journey. First, we'll cover how to stand out and be clear. Then, pricing and pitching your services. Step 3 is all about communicating and delivering excellence. 4, scaling and raising your rates. And finally, we'll wrap up with the major freelancing mistakes you definitely need to avoid. All right, let's kick things off with part 1, stand out and be clear. Look, before you ever even think about sending out a pitch, you absolutely must have a professional foundation. Potential clients need to understand exactly what you do within literally seconds of finding you. You've got to treat your professional profile like a digital storefront. If a client walks in or clicks on your page, they shouldn't have to play a guessing game about what you sell. These elements right here, they're non-negotiable for beginners. You need a professional photo or some clean branding, a clear headline, a highly specific service description. Your portfolio has to be right there, front and center, showing off your relevant skills, along with a crystal clear value proposition. Professionalism starts right here, because if your storefront looks messy, clients are going to assume your actual work is messy too. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what I mean. There is a massive, massive difference between just blending in and actually standing out. Look at this week offer. I do graphic design. I mean, It's so vague. It forces the client to do all the mental heavy lifting to figure out what kind of design, for what platform, and for what industry. Now look at the stronger offer. I create clean social media graphics for small businesses. Boom. Immediately, a small business owner knows you are talking directly to them. A highly specific offer is going to attract clients so much faster because it completely removes the guesswork.
So, how do you actually write an offer like that? Well, it basically comes down to this 5-part anatomy. First, who is your target customer? Second, what specific problem are they dealing with? Third, what service are you using to fix it? Fourth, what is the exact tangible deliverable they'll hold in their hands? And fifth, what's the expected outcome? When you structure your offer this way, it makes it incredibly easy for clients to grasp the value they're getting. Remember, they aren't just paying for an hour of your time. They're paying for a direct solution to their problem based on these 5 things.
Moving right along to part 2, price and pitch your services. Once your offer is totally dialed in, we hit the biggest hurdle for early-stage freelancers, figuring out how the heck to price your work and pitch it without just racing to the bottom. So how do we price it? There are 4 main models you'll see. Hourly pricing, which is great for ongoing, kind of unpredictable work. Fixed project pricing, awesome when you know exactly what the final product looks like a 5-page website. Then there's package pricing, where you bundle things together. Think a logo, a brand guide, and business cards all for one price. And finally, retainers, those sweet monthly recurring agreements. Now, as a beginner, it's so tempting to just try and be the cheapest option out there. Please do not do this. Compete on being the most clear and reliable, not the cheapest. But listen, to charge properly, you absolutely have to define your scope. You've got to look at all these variables. How much time is this really going to take? How complex is it? What level of experience are you bringing? What's the core value to the client? And this is absolutely crucial. How many revisions are included? If you don't take these variables into account and get client expectations managed from day one, you are buying a one-way ticket to messy misunderstandings and endless unpaid revision loops. Nobody wants that. Let's move to and see how this builds into an actual winning pitch. Those generic copy and paste proposals, yeah, they almost always fail because they make it all about you, not the client. Instead, use this super simple 5-step framework. 1, show them you actually understand their specific problem. 2, briefly explain how you can help solve it. 3, show them relevant samples of your work. 4, tell them exactly what the deliverable will be. And 5, ask a useful question or propose a really clear next step. This kind of concise, personalized communication will beat a giant copy-pasted wall of text every single time. Which brings us to part 3, communicate and deliver excellence. Okay, so let's say they loved the pitch and accepted your proposal. Awesome. But right here, the narrative shifts entirely from selling to executing. And honestly, this is where your communication becomes just as important as your technical skills. Being proactive is what separates the true professionals from the unsure beginners. Ask clear questions right off the bat. Get deadlines and deliverables confirmed so there's a solid paper trail. Gently remind them of those revision limits we talked about. Send them progress updates before they even ask so they never have to chase you down going, hey, how's it coming along? And when they give feedback, even if it stings a little, always keep it professional. Doing this is absolute gold for your reputation. So the crucial point is that delivering excellent work isn't just about the final design or the code or the written copy. It's about the entire package. When you meticulously follow these simple standards, you prove you are incredibly reliable. You hit your deadlines. You follow their instructions to the letter. You do a thorough quality check before hitting send. You name your files clearly, because let's be honest, no one wants a file called final_version3_updatedfinal.pdf. You keep backups. Showing up professionally like this tells the client you deeply respect their time and their business. I really want this to sink in. The goal of the first project isn't simply to get paid, it's to build trust. Yes, obviously, the money is important. We all have bills. But getting a total stranger to trust you enough to hand over their hard-earned cash, that is a massive milestone. And earning that trust through stellar communication and excellent delivery, that is the rock-solid foundation for every single thing that comes next in your freelance career. And that flows perfectly into part 4, scale and raise your rates. Once you've secured that initial trust, you get to enter the evolution phase. This is where you turn one-off gigs into a stable, growing business. Because let's face it, constantly hunting for brand new clients every week is totally exhausting. The secret to actual stability is turning one client into repeat business. You can pitch retainers or monthly services. You can offer follow-up work that naturally pairs with what you just finished. If you are reliable and easy to communicate with, clients would way rather just hire you again than risk their time and money testing out a total stranger. Finding repeat clients takes so much of the pressure off that endless freelance hustle. And as you start building up this amazing base of happy repeat clients, you're inevitably going to hit a point where you need to raise your rates. But here's the thing, rate increases shouldn't just be pulled out of thin air. You raise your prices when your skills actually improve, when your portfolio gets undeniably stronger, and when your time is in high demand. If you're getting better results, your reputation is expanding, and you're developing a real specialization, well, your rates absolutely must reflect that. Higher prices always have to be backed up by stronger positioning and real, tangible value. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it maps out the actual, realistic timeline. We call it the freelancer's ascension. Day 1, that's just about honing your skill and building a portfolio. Month 1 is the grind to land that very first client and get a glowing testimonial. But by month 6, if you're doing this right, you've got repeat clients and you're charging higher rates. By year 1, you're dialing in your specialization and building out your systems. And by year 2, you are legitimately expanding a true business. It really shows how just one single skill logically transforms into a whole enterprise over time. And once you hit that year 1 or year 2 mark, you can start exploring some really cool scalable avenues. Maybe you evolve into an agency, or you create productized services, sell digital products, do high-level consulting, teach, or even build a small team. These are fantastic goals. But, and I must strongly reiterate this, if you're a beginner, you have to focus entirely on becoming undeniably great at one valuable service first. You simply cannot scale a broken foundation. Finally, part 5. Avoid these freelancing mistakes. All right, time for a bit of a reality check. We need to talk about the major pitfalls that ruin freelance careers before they even start. Avoiding these traps is absolutely crucial for protecting your reputation. First off, don't try to learn everything at once. Don't jump to a new niche every 2 weeks just because you saw a shiny new trend on social media. Never charge without fully understanding the scope. Remember, you don't have to take every client. Red flags are real, folks. Do not miss deadlines without being incredibly proactive about it. And above all, do not ever use unethical tactics like spamming inboxes or faking your portfolio. Trust takes years to build and literally seconds to destroy. Seriously, listen to this quote. Freelancing isn't about finding a magic website that pays you for clicking buttons. It's about developing a valuable skill, finding people who need that skill, solving their problems, and building enough trust that they want to work with you again. We absolutely have to dispel this myth of overnight wealth. This journey is about real skills, helping real people, and building real trust. Ground yourself in these achievable expectations, and you are going to do great. Okay, to tie this whole thing together, here is your complete roadmap summarized in 6 logical steps. You clarify your service, you build some proof and find clients, you communicate like an absolute professional, you deliver excellent, high-quality work, you build long-term relationships to get that repeat business, and then you continually improve your skills so you can increase your value. Everything we've talked about today connects straight back to just being fundamentally useful and deeply reliable. I really want to leave you with this powerful thought. The internet didn't eliminate competition. It expanded the marketplace. Your advantage comes from becoming useful, reliable, and easy to trust. Look, your very first freelance gig might be tiny. The pay might literally just cover a nice dinner out. But the actual skills you're building and the pristine reputation you earn right now, that is exactly what becomes the solid foundation for something so much bigger tomorrow. If you found this roadmap explainer helpful and you really want to master the actual mechanics of building a profitable online business, make sure you hit that subscribe button for Wealth Decoded HQ. We're constantly breaking down the realities of entrepreneurship, freelancing, and wealth building. So I'll leave you with this final provocative question to chew on today. Out of all the things you could possibly learn, what is the one specific valuable skill you're going to choose to master first? Think about it. See you in the next explainer.